I am Roy Collin, the host of the podcast. You can find everything about me by scanning the QR code there or going to roycollin.com, and you'll find my 6 podcasts: the Podfather, helping people become podcasters; the Awakening, exposing fraud and corruption but with solutions; the Crypto, all things blockchain technology; meditation podcast; speaking podcast; and the Learn Polish podcast. You can also help the show by actually making a donation, visiting the store, or helping my sponsors. I hope you enjoyed this week's show. Welcome to the Speaking Podcast. You can find all our episodes on speakingpodcast.com. My guest, he got into sales coaching when he worked with BNI. He recognized that many small businesses don't use sales process. As a result of this, he built a rapid success sales process. He's a speaker, podcaster, which I always love talking to podcasters, and author. His website is meetwithbenjamin.com. Please welcome Benjamin Brown.
Good morning. How are you?
And good morning to you. I know you're up bright and early in beautiful Florida. I was actually there over 20 years ago. I think 25 years ago. Loved it.
Yeah, I normally get up now between about 2 to 4 a.m. It's my wake up time.
Yeah, that's so. We're going to touch on the sales, but what I want to do is just kind of go into your own kind of career first, because I know you're a military man, and the reason that I think that's important is I've met a lot of people and I have friends that were in the military, and I think they get very systemized and they're very focused, and I think the training helps them. And I just like to know, were you a different person before you got into the army, why you got into the army, and what you learned there? I know it's a kind of loaded question, but you kind of understand what I'm saying.
Well, first of all, people that have to understand I was in the Marine Corps, different. So
Apologies.
So the Marine Corps is a little bit more of a special type of operation where the entire branch is special. You have specialties in each branch. Navy, you have Navy SEALs. The Air Force have their special force. The Army, of course, have theirs. But the Marine Corps as a whole is an entire unit of special forces. When countries hear that we're coming, they know that there's a serious problem. Because you got a bunch of crazy guys that's ready to drink beer when they finish doing what they got to do. We're here. We're not there to shake hands and take pictures with babies when we come into town. So that's our MO, and it's been that for years. And it gave me a foundation for a lot of stuff in my life, especially like getting up early. It is just norm because that's 5 every day for us, right? And so we do more in the morning before most people get up and at work before their first cup of coffee. And so I later in life had to reinvigorate those type of deals to get what I need to get done, knowing that if you get up in the morning, you do your affirmations, you do your readings, things of that nature, you structure your day, all these type of deals, and work out, get that done. Maybe sometime 2 workouts in the morning, depending on what you're doing. And then, getting the kids off to school, that type of deal, get them off to school if you have to do that. And then, by 7 o'clock, you're waiting on people to wake up to start doing business with you, right? You have your schedule that you go through. So I instill that in a lot of people I work with. If you don't do that, being prepared is one of the first steps in the sales process. And that means, are you ready to sell? And most people aren't.
Right. So you have a book, and it's you have the name here, Mastering the Art of Closing the Sale, but you have a 10-step process. And I've heard you on different shows as well, just going through this, but I think if you don't mind touching on the different points, because like the listeners, whether they're building their coaching business, their speaking business, or just any business, I think it will just help them if we can go through that, if that's okay with you.
That's fine. So I'll give you a couple of the pointers because it gets long and lengthy. But the first step is getting prepared. With most salespeople I work with, I've been in sales for over 23 years. And I found that being prepared is one of the most essential things. Are you ready? Because sales is a skill. It's an action item that needs to be honed. And so you need to practice that just like you would any other skill and be prepared, because the potential client only has one thing that you're trying to avoid. Is a 2-letter word, and the word is no. So you're trying to do all of this to prevent them. You're trying to help them when I tell anybody in entrepreneurship or in sales, your job is to help people. You're helping people with your product or service. If you believe in what you're doing and you're on the good side. As we know, negative has connotations with sales with people who rip off. They're very good at what they do because they believe in what they want to achieve, not in the product. They want your money. So most people have that negative connotation. Number two is connected and relating. The reason you do that is because you want to connect and relate with the individual because you're going to ask more difficult questions than a normal sales process to save a lot of time from them and you. Number three is
just going back, and because I'd like to touch on the points as you mentioned, but just
okay.
Like especially if it's a cold call and you're having a conversation and you're trying to connect with them, how do you know the personality type of the person you're talking to? Because for me, I like just going straight to the point, don't waffle. Other people like to chit chat. Hey, what's the weather like there and all that? How do you decipher that?
There's myriad of ways of doing that. I could change my dialect. I could change my tone. I can slow down my pace of talking. I can speed it up if I'm talking to like Northerners. So it's a connect and relate type deal. You're in the same country. You're in a different country. All the different things. We're similar as humans. Right? We just don't know it. So that similarity brings a closeness. So when I sit down and ask you, I always use this kind of connotation. If I came up to you and I asked you what color underwear were you wearing and just walked up to you and asked you that, you probably would want to knock me in the face, try to figure out all these kind of deals, drive me crazy, right? Who's this guy? You know, what color underwear, right? So if I walk up to you and we had a small conversation in the beginning, right? So I'm used to doing it. And I said, you're from Poland. Wow, you like the seasons over there. The seasons change, the colors and things like that. And I said, you know what? Normally in the fall or when it gets cold, I wear this underwear that's like blue because it's warmer. What color underwear you wear? You'd be like, well, mine's green. So I got, right? So just by doing that, I got what I wanted. You just didn't know it. Because we connected and related. I found out you're from Poland. We talked a little bit, made you laugh. It doesn't take that long depending on the person. Of course, you got stiff people all the time, but it helps you. So when I ask you important questions to you, and I said, based on what we talked about, if the product or service that I'm giving you is affordable, is there anything holding us back from doing business today? Because I built that relationship. I'm looking for you to be quite honest with me. The more honest you are with me, the less time I have to spend with you and move on to the next client. Right? Now, I haven't even did a presentation with you before when I asked this question. So a presentation normally takes, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 hours, all this type. But I'm figuring this out in the beginning because I want to know if I'm wasting your time and more importantly, my time. Because I need to do sales as a numbers game and I need to get to a qualified person who I can help. So I need to ask, if I don't build that relationship, I can't ask those deep questions to save myself time. Make sense?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people have a problem asking about the money at the start. It's not that this is only about the money, but like if you're paying to get leads and the leads are coming in, you want to make sure that they can afford the service that you're doing. And I know a lot of people, they do a 45-minute call or an hour call and then try to go for the sale at the end and the guy go, I'm broke. And they're like, okay. And, that's kind of like, you want to help.
Most importantly, what do you look like 5 hours later doing like 5, 6, 7 pitches like that? You're exhausted. You've come out of your character. You're frustrated. So these things, you're doing a performance every time. So you need to save that energy. You need to create that energy. You need to get up in the morning and work out. You need to be prepared for the no's. And so it's so many variables in there. And I found that, sales is simple, but it's not easy. I tell people, simple, but it's not easy. You got to do the work.
Well, this is kind of related. There's, because sometimes people believe that, okay, I don't have the money now, they have that thought process. Let's build the relationship. And then when they have the money, they'll come into me. And like, I think you're wasting a lot of time. Maybe you can have some sort of free resources, because you do, like, especially if your service is helping people, you don't want to just let them high and dry, if they don't have the money. You can have kind of some of the resources, get them into your email system. But, like, I think you have to mention the money within the first few minutes and then say, look, I get this, and you can come back when would be good. But look, I want to give you this just to help you. That way you're still kind of not looking like the bad boy. But as you say, you're not 5 hours later exhausted. And the other thing is, perhaps you could have a different price point if you're converting a lot more than saying, okay, every 10 I get 1, so, and my costs are this.
Yeah. And it's believing in your system. One of the things I teach in the beginning is, do you like or love the product that you're selling? Do you like it or love it? If you don't like it, love it, leave it. Because you have to have that passion. People have to understand that you're there to help in all these type of deals, to help them get what they want, right? And so a number of different philosophies I use when I sell them, and also a lot of analogies for people to understand what I'm trying to get them through. Because most of the people I work with have been in sales for years, but still don't understand what a sale is. They don't know what a sale is. So I ask you, what is a sale?
Sale.
What is the purpose of a sale? What is the purpose of a sale?
Well, if you're going the opposite to what you said earlier, instead of getting a no, getting a yes to whatever service that you're offering, that is like, that if you're ethical, it's of something that you know will be of benefit to the person that you're selling it to, so you actually get closure and you get the contract completed.
So it's the same thing. You have a 9-year-old, right?
10, you just turned 10 there, okay, yeah.
Well, yeah, so now about 7 years ago, he used to ask you to pick me up, 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 right? Or I want this still, right? And what do you tell them to do? Stop. That's enough, right? That's a close. So children are one of the best salespeople in the world.
Absolutely.
Right. So the purpose of a sale is to get somebody to move. Remember, sales is simple, but it's not easy. So people overthink it. Oh, it has to do with money. No, a sale is very simple. It's getting a person to move in small little increments towards a solution that they need, that you might provide, and they have to pay for it if there's monetization. But children, there's a sale going on everywhere. When you're married, when you stop being married, you stop selling, right? It's the same thing. Relationships, sales is everywhere. So once you understand that type of concept, you'll realize it's way more simpler than you thought.
Very good. Yeah, excellent. One of the things as well that I know it's very important is like kind of testimonials and referrals. And I saw from your LinkedIn, like you had 31, which is rare. You don't see as many as that, people giving testimonials. Like, one, touch on the testimonials, and two, for platforms like LinkedIn, which is very good for businesses, a lot of people don't ask for it. They're kind of afraid to ask. So you might touch on that.
Okay. The end of the sale, step number 10 is testimonial and referrals. The purpose of a sale is testimonial and referrals. When you sell somebody, most of the time the demographics of the person that you sell is the best next sale that you have to make. You waste a lot of time, energy, trying to get to the next lead, next person. You're not realizing that the best sale is the person that's right that you just sold. You already sold them. There's no reason why they can't. The insurance industry lives off testimonial referrals. Network marketing lives off testimonial referrals. It's just an additional sale in the process that you need to make. So if your sales process is smooth and you make it a very enjoyable, pleasant transaction, there's no reason when you do that to ask for a testimonial referral. It's branding. So I have a limousine company that I run. I have like 250 5-star reviews. People tell me all the time, the reason I called you is because I looked at your reviews. It cuts the sale in half. No like and trust, right? So if he's used you and he's happy, Amazon, we do the same thing when we buy on Amazon. How many reviews this thing got compared to this one? You look at this one, says, I was looking yesterday, I just bought some, I went and bought some earbuds. I need some earbuds. I've had these for like 2 years. So you start researching how much you want to spend, all this kind of stuff we do nowadays. Then I go on there and I'm like, oh, this was recommended. And then I look at, okay, so there's one on there, the ones that I looked at. Oh, this is nice. 695 reviews. The one that I bought, 16,000. So it was already like, okay, I don't need to research it. And you look at like first 2 or 3 reviews, okay, good. I'm good. I can always return it. You never return it. It's the same thing. It's the same earbuds. It's just that company has more reviews. So if you focus your business basically on referrals and testimonial, you'll say, I got people all day. My friend told me to call you. My friend told me to call you. All these type of deals. And that's how you really grow a business without spending a ton of money on marketing. Make sense?
Absolutely. So I'm curious on your thoughts on, like, say, the referral. Obviously you can say, hey, is there 3 people you might know, whatever, because there's people would say something like that. What's your thoughts on paying for the referrals versus just asking for the referrals? Because like you could say, look, if you get somebody to me, I'll give you X%. But I've tried both, and sometimes people go, oh, great, but they do nothing about it. But if you set up an affiliate system, so I'm just curious what you think of that.
Well, here's a key point for you that you didn't need. All right, when do you normally ask for a referral?
At the end, when you're kind of closing. As in, like, when if you're taking them through a process and it's at the end, like when they're happy and they're saying how happy they are, that's the time to ask.
I can tell you, based upon the statement that you just told me, is that you actually you offer a referral program. You got to sell the referral. If I could, same thing, provide you with some type of money, monetization, is there anything holding you back from finding people that I can work with to help as well? I need a yes or no, right? Instead of going, hey, I got this program, it's $25 when you refer somebody, this and that. And they're like, yeah, whatever. They just went through this emotional type roller coaster and probably gave out some money sometime they didn't want to get rid of or thought about or all that other stuff. And then you pile that on top of that. It doesn't go over well. And you're like, why did I do it? It's the way you set it up.
Well, excellent. And I heard you talking about like getting the credit card details, and I want to touch on that. One, because I know trying to get it early is good, but also there's times when people might know the company, and they're afraid to give their credit card details for that, and how you overcome that.
Why would they be afraid?
Because they might think that you're a scam, or they just might want to give the card details.
If you get a feeling that somebody's doing something, the difference between a good and a great salesperson is the number of questions that you ask. So if you feel as though that they feel that, the deal that you need to do is ask them. So based on what the feeling that I get is that there's some type of discredit, or you feel as though you're not going to get your solution solved, right? So the main thing of it is how bad they want to solve the problem. Instead of me selling you something, I'm selling you that I'm going to solve your problem. And every product or service that people sell solves a problem. You're not talking about the problem. You're talking about how you're going to solve it. You're not talking about the problem. You're not talking about how bad they want the problem solved. You're talking about how you're going to solve it, your presentation. And then that's pitching and wishing. So if I go in and I actually express to you, how long have you been dealing with this? And I can go, wow, now I understand why we're talking and have you really want to get this problem solved. Okay, so if I can solve that for you for this cost, I can add costs in there. Is there anything holding us back from getting this off your list so you could move on with your life, better your life, stop dealing with the pain, stop dealing with the problem? So you slow the sale down. You're a problem solver. So if I can do that, if I snap my fingers and solve it, what would it look like? You tell me. Envision it, embellish it. Let's blow it up. Let's talk about, wow, that would be great. I don't know why we haven't done this before. I haven't even told you how I'm going to solve the problem yet. Right? It's the same thing. So if God bless, if somebody's diagnosed with cancer, they go to the doctor and the doctor goes, I know we can solve this problem. Like, really? Like, wow, what do I got to do? Instead of going, maybe I could, maybe we'll try this. But this doctor said he can, right? I don't want to deal with this. You know the end results of that most of the time, right? So it's the way you set it up. You're a problem solver. Most people don't, it's front-loaded sales. You do a lot of the work in the beginning, so you don't have to worry about the hard closes in the end. And most people just know about presentation. They just want to get to the presentation. They just want to present, and the presentation will set you free. The sales process will set you free. Less stressful, right? Instead of just a presentation. So most companies emphasize on the presentation and the numbers. If we just present enough, and if I throw enough bullets at a wall, it's going to fall down eventually, right? Right. So it's the kind of the same type.
Well, I think if you throw the bullets, it won't fall down. But if you shoot them, maybe it will.
Absolutely. So it's the mindset of understanding these small type of deals and how it works, and your whole mindset to change on sales is what I work on. And like I said, a lot of the things I do is mindset. So I work with men who are coming out of bad marriages or coming out of the military or just mindset, don't know where they're at in the world. It's not enough people to help guys who've already been through it on the other side to pull them through and understand there is other ways. Women too as well. Everybody needs a helping hand. I have 2 coaches that I have now. Everybody needs a mentorship. Nobody has figured this thing out. By the time you figure it out, you're already dead.
And I think the mindset is very important because, I've been involved in loads of companies and I've done investments, got a lot of investors and everything. And I always had it in my mindset that I'm going to do this. I always had a belief system in myself and what I'm doing and that this is a benefit. But a lot of people have the opposite.
Well, at any given time, you have, as humans, you have doubt. And, one of the things I've been working with a client now for the 3rd time, and this is over a 4-year span. And then I know every time we finish our commitment of working together, I can tell in the end, the first time it happened, I said, you will be back. He was like, no, I'm good. And then 6 months later, the phone call came in, and you could tell the tone of the voice had dropped. The whole mentality had dropped. Because when they walked out that last day, they had the sunglasses on, they had new car. I'm going to go out there and kill it. I'm like, cool. So overconfidence, which was the problem, and I knew it. I'm like, this guy's overconfident. It's only a matter of time before it falls through. And he was like, no, I'm good. And then, 6 months later, they come crawling back. Hey, Coach Brown, they call me Coach Brown. I need to sit down. We need to go back to some things. I'm like, what's going on? How are you? It's like, it just dropped. You need somebody. And so now we're actually still back in sessions right now. We meet every week for an hour just to actually, go through a little sales, but what's going on in your mindset, right? You need somebody to understand, not a therapist, but somebody who understands, somebody who's going to get you on track, motivate you, and also hold you accountable for your actions. Did you do this? And he's a CEO of a $10 million company, right? So you think people of that stature don't need that type of hand-holding. Those are the ones, every CEO probably has a mentor that he's talking to. People that make $10,000 a month are talking to people that make $100,000 a month. I know guys right now making $100,000 a month, they're talking to millionaires. I know millionaires that are talking to multimillionaires. I know multimillionaires are talking to billionaires. Everybody has done it before them. Saves you a lot of time to get where you want to go.
Mm-hmm. Very good. What's your thoughts on scripts? Because I've seen some companies, especially kind of like the franchise industry and everything, and they have all the scripts, and if the person says this and that, do you think that's a good system to have, or should you just touch into the emotions and be more connected to the person? Because I think a lot of times, especially if they're not trained properly, it's a script. You shouldn't, but unfortunately, they're just reading it.
Well, it depends on the product or service. If you're doing it on a vast basis, you're mowing down the lawn, should I say, and you have 50 or 60 reps and you want structure, you want to give them something, a process. So scripting is a good thing in the beginning, but you have to add your personality to it. You can't be a robot, which is, you can tell when people call you and they're on a script. And I have fun with them. I'm like, what page are you on? They're like, what? I'm like, what page are you on? I'm finding out how well they know the script, how well I could throw them off. Your process is your process. And if you should never be thrown off your process. So if you call me up and you're reading and I could tell you're going word for word and I'm going, what page are you on? And they go, what? And I go, what page are you on? They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you're reading the script. What is the next sentence you want me to say? Because I've been in the game for a long time. So I have fun with them. There's 2 companies that I sold because I actually criticized the rep and then got the manager on. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this is horrible. And I'm like, this is the way you represent your company. I don't know what's going on with your sales. And then we had a conversation and I got on the phone with the owner. And then 2 weeks later, I'm on a plane doing a 2-day presentation at their office. Right. So being critical of that. But yeah, scripts do work. Depending on the product or service, especially anything under $100 where you're doing repetitious calling, because you want to be able to put the salesperson in a frame of mind that you're going to win. And sometimes that's training wheels, which is called scripts.
What I've also seen in scripts, which I didn't like, to be honest, but like they were setting up the call that, hey, if you qualify, you get to talk to our VP. And it's all just slimy sales tactics. But like, I wouldn't have known it, only that I got caught for it and then got involved, and then they were trying to get us to do it. And I was like, this is slime.
Yeah.
When you've got like a sales office and you've got a few different sales kind of coaches, managers, a lot of the time they're not training the sales managers. They just kind of promote the people that are the best salespeople, which doesn't necessarily mean they're the best coaches or they're the best people for training, because sometimes they have the skill set and they don't know how. So your thoughts on that, training the coaches?
Well, when I work with individuals, I tell people, you better work with me now, because there's very few people that have been successful at sales and also can teach it. It's like football coaches, soccer coaches. It's only so many of them because you have to relate based upon your experience to actually have the understanding and motivation of bringing up the people that you train, right? The reason I do what I do, because I found out I had a knack that my coaching system, when I deal with people that has a mindset training, because I have mindset and elite training, I'm results driven. So I'm not just going to work with you. I want to see the results that you get. I work in the benefit of having a coaching business that is results driven. I can see it. If we're dealing with sales and you're the owner of the company, or if you're an entrepreneur, where your numbers are now. One of the clients I worked with 2 years ago, we started working. She found me on LinkedIn. I said, from every day that we work together, based upon what I teach you, add how much more money you have made based upon what you have learned, and write that down every day so you can see the money that you're spending with me. Because one of my statements is, you don't pay for me, your new clients will, because you're losing clients, right? So it's a win-win situation to work with a good coach that's results driven. And in that 90 days, because normally it's a 90-day program, 6 months or a year, she generated over $176,000. She only spent $7,000. Right? So that's what I like. So in the end, when I ask her, who do you know that I can help? When she puts that in front of somebody's face, I spent $7,000 and I made over $100,000. It makes my job a whole lot easier. The same concept. So to your question, yes, there's the reason a lot of people are not successful at sales is because the company don't give enough tools for the sales rep to feel confident, or enough tools to be successful. And that's why they have high turnover. Because the one thing you do not want to have in your business is an unconfident salesperson. It's a waste of time.
Like, I've seen situations, even with some of my own businesses, I brought in salespeople because I was actually doing a lot more than the whole team but in Poland, which was strange because, I wasn't fluent at the language. And I got a company that I'd, checked the reviews and everything. They were very good for sales and brought them in. And like, they were teaching good stuff because I was listening in on it and getting translations and understanding everything. But in the end, they were like saying they shouldn't be there. And is there a case that you just say, yeah, there's some people, they just, no matter what you do, they could get a certain level that they just kind of coast along, but it gets to a level, especially with wage increases and everything, and cost increases, that they're no longer bringing any, benefit to the company. And
Right.
is there times you just have to say, sorry, this isn't your skill set?
Well, I love firing people. I had a great manager years ago. I love this guy. He fired people every week in one of our companies, one of the first premier jobs that I had. And to watch him fire people taught me how to let people go. He'll start off in the beginning. Sales is not for everyone. I mean, very sentimental in the face. And he's like, in IT, when I manage guys who own companies and they have to let people go, I said, you should be happy because it didn't work out. You get to move on with the rest of your life and find something else that works for you. You're not sitting here working with me on something that's not going to work because I know it's not going to work. That's why we're parting ways. So I'm doing you a benefit. So people walk out getting fired with a smile on their face because you let them go. This is not for you, right? You just have to be honest with people. It's not going to work. And also, if they came from other industries with, connotations of what they thought was going to happen, or like, this is the way I sold when I was at this other company. I go, you can't do that. This is the way we do things here. And I've had so many people that I've seen let go because they held on to that old sales system. And that's what got them fired because they thought they knew more than the company. The company is telling you, this is the thing you want is telling your people, this is the way we do things here. If you can't do it, we don't have time, because dealing with a salesperson that doesn't work or bring in revenue is a lot of, training time, replacing the person time. You're talking months worth of work. So if you get that down efficiently, you can save yourself thousands, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So one of the things I will bring to you that a lot of business owners do not know how to hire salespeople. They're not salespeople. One thing a salesperson does know how to do is get a job. Doesn't mean they could do the job because they believe in themselves. The first thing you have to do as a salesperson is sell yourself. So if you can sell yourself, doesn't mean you can sell their product. So I tell people, one of my jobs is to hire. I had a company, I was doing the HR hiring salespeople because the owner never did sales. So he would bring people in and they never would work out. And I'm like, you're not a salesperson. How do you know a good salesperson? Because you're dealing with people who are outbound and they're going to get a job doesn't mean they're going to be able to sell your product, especially if you're given a salary, right? Not 100% commission. Make sense?
No, absolutely. And with like the social media then of building that, because obviously there's kind of paid ads and everything, but with building the social media, like how much effort should you be people putting into their companies when they're trying to build their sales as well, connected with that kind of cross-referencing? And
well, main thing with the social media is if you are because now you're talking strictly business, which I can talk to. So the main thing about that is, are you or are you not? The first question you ask most businesses when they get to that is, are you or are you not trying to build a brand? Are you just selling products or are you building a brand? So the brand is the long game. Social media is the long game. It doesn't go away. The videos you put out there stay out there. The LinkedIn profile that you build stays out there. All of these things stay out there. Are you going to build on it? One of my students now said, my competition, because I told them you need to get into social media. Everybody has to do it. It's not a choice. People are not listening to people if you don't have some type of social media. They think, what's wrong with you, right? So he showed me this, he was like, okay, there's no such thing as bad publicity. So he shows me, this company that my competition, who kind of rips people off, doesn't do what I do. They have a social media profile. He doesn't have one. And he shows it to me like, here, look at what they're trying to do. And then I come back and go, 711 posts. I said, you know how much time it takes to put 711 posts? I mean, these guys been posting so whether they're good or bad, they're putting the work in. They're branding, right? So you have to look at it like that. Are you building a brand or are you just selling products? And so that is the question based upon the plan that you want to do. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. So when, like, finally, like, a person kind of realizes I've got a problem with sales, whether sales have changed, because I've come across some clients as well that, like, they had a system for having their sales come in, and it's like using Google and stuff like that, and everything was hunky dory, and it just changed overnight.
Right.
And then they're finding leads get different and everything. Like, because I think you can't get complacent, because sometimes people think I get a skill set, and it's like you mentioned, the guy coming back, because you're constantly improving as well. You're watching everything because you have to be on top of your game. But a lot of times people think they've got a skill set and then that's it. But life just changes. There's so many different things. Like I just saw, even now, the other day, that Rumble, they're going to have online paid ads that for the live ones. I mean, that's a game changer. You know?
Yeah.
But you have to stay on top and kind of understand these things. But for those that are kind of think, I have my skill set, I can do it, what would you say to them?
Well, the thing I express with people, these are all tools. These are all tools. When I started in the sales game, all I had was a notebook, which now I have an electronic notebook, right? It's,
remarkable, yeah.
Remarkable. You know, you've seen this?
I've seen it, and I was thinking again, and the reason that I want to just touch on that is, sorry, but I love writing, because I think the brain thinks differently rather than typing. And that's why when I saw that, I go, oh, I like that.
So my client got this for me years ago. I can write down my date book. Everything is in this one thin thing. It translates to my phone. This is a tool. This right here. This little thing that people use all day. This is a tool. These are tools. Sales has been around before the Romans. But we've been inundated with so many tools. We can't focus, right? Things are changing so fast. AI just kicked in last year, right? So all of these things, as an entrepreneur, you're getting inundated with all these different things. So the main thing when you sell, or you sell for your company, or you own a company, is the first thing I ask them, what is your sales process? They can't answer it, but I'm pretty sure they're marketing. They got Facebook ads, they got LinkedIn, they got all the stuff that they're doing to try to bring in. What people are doing, they're lazy nowadays. They see all these millionaires, they think it's easy. They want low-hanging fruit. I'm going to pay you $5,000 to put ads out so I can get people to come in and just buy my freaking product without me having a sales process. Who wouldn't like that? They're millionaires. We did an email campaign. They probably did pick up the phone. They made all these monies on these courses. That was 2-3 years ago, right? All of these are tools. Can you pick this up, call somebody, go through a presentation, and close them? That's the way it was. Cell phones, remember before cell phones, it was door-to-door people. Then there was TV. Then there was telephones. Then there was fax machines. Remember fax machines? Oh, my goodness, I could send you over a document? Wow. And you could look at it. I could just put it through the phone, and you could print out and look at it. That's how my first sales job was. Hold on one second. I'll call you back. I'm going to fax you. I would fax you the sheet of information. I would call you back, go through the sheet, and close you. When we got computers, we were pissed. We didn't want it, Roy. We're getting computers with database. I don't want that. It slowed me down because we're doing 125, 100. I got to enter in data now? I don't have time for that. We were on the phone. Boom, boom, boom. Headsets, notebook. Headsets, notebook. I would go through my notebook like a database. Like, oh, I got to call this guy back, make this money. God, it was my notebook was my database. And we got computers. I was like, it's going to slow everything down. We hated it. Now people can't live without it. I walk into a business, I think 5 years ago. I say, I take away your cell phone and your laptop. How can you operate? The look on his face like, well, what are you talking about? How would you run your business? because it's been done before that. You're running a lawn care service. How would you run your business? You would have to sell.
That was something
Right?
I did when I was 14. I'd go around door to door when I saw grass was high.
When you cut somebody grass, instead of you jumping in your truck and leaving, you would actually go to the next door and the next door, knock on the door before you leave. You would do that on a regular basis. You make sure all your guys would do that. You don't do that because you're lazy. You're relying on the email campaign. You know, on LinkedIn, you're sending out business cards, you're sending out emails. Yeah. And things change. The reason we're having this conversation, things change. You're going into a panic. You need to sell more, right? You don't know how to close. Stuff just been coming to you. Low-hanging fruit, right? When that low-hanging fruit hangs up, my phone rings. Hey, we've been thinking about this. I'm like, you're making too much money, trying to figure out how to make more money, or you're losing money. It's when my phone rings. Nobody calls me when everything's good. You're making $100,000 a month. Oh, we don't need no sales. We're good. We're perfect. Go from 100 to 10. All of a sudden, what's going on? Looking around with sales, why we're not close.
And I think that's a problem with some people, is they wait too long and then they don't have the money. They look for help, but they're trying to do it on a system that, hey, when I get the sales, I give it the money, but they should have done it a lot sooner.
Let me tell you something. We all go through it, right? Nobody, and I tell billionaires, and I want to tell your people that are listening right now, I had a business I just shut down a month ago. I was in the trucking business. My deal, I didn't do enough research. I didn't find a mentor. It's hard for me to do it. And before you know it, I was like in debt with this company in the tens of thousands of dollars. It's because I didn't do the things that I was supposed to do. We all do it. Low-hanging, shiny fruit. What's the nearest thing? You talked about earlier, Rumble. Oh, I could get paid ads on Rumble now. Let me throw money towards that. How well is that going to work? How did you research it? Somebody else has done it. So on and so forth, because there's so many sides, shiny objects. My personal assistant, stop buying some shiny objects, right? So that's it. So we're being sold on a regular basis, especially entrepreneurs, because they assume we have money. How many people call you talking about leads? I mean, like LinkedIn. I mean, how many people don't know if you work 9 to 5, you have the blessing of not people. They're calling you to find out if they can lower your cable bill. As an entrepreneur, you're getting inundated with salespeople telling you how they can make you more. And we have bought those systems. We have spent 5, 10, 15 thousands of dollars on stuff that just did not work because we were what? We were sold on them. Oh, we can get you leads. 3 months later, we need to get more money for ads. But I already paid $15,000 in ads. I'm like, the phone's not ringing. Well, we need to change the demographic. I need to pull the plug on this. This is just we've all been there. We're pulling the plug on it. I spent last year $4,000 on somebody to do videography for me. Did I make any money on that? Literally, no. But I mean, it helped with the branding. But the phones didn't ring because I spent $4,000 on somebody to do customized videos. But that's part of the game plan. If you're not doing what regular people are doing, you're getting left behind. You have to continue to do this.
Excellent. Listen, Benjamin, thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. You might let people know where they can find you.
Well, like I said, 360 Sales Consulting, my book's on Amazon, Master the Art of Closing a Sale. I made it easy for people to reach out to me worldwide. Meet with Benjamin.com, and you can schedule a call, sit down with me, and then I can do an assessment to figure out how I can help you become a better person, or better yet, a better salesperson.
Excellent. Yep. I'll make sure I put the links both on the audio and the video. Thank you very much, Benjamin.
No problem. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, cheers. That's all for the Speaking Podcast. You'll find all our episodes on speakingpodcast.com. Until next week, take care. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. As mentioned at the start, you can find my 6 podcasts on roycollin.com or scan the QR code if you're looking to start a podcast or do a podcasting tour, help with that. Also, if you're looking for a virtual assistant, we also have that service. And you can help the show by visiting the store, supporting our sponsors, or making a donation. Until next week, take care.